Hey there, I'm Emily May, and I'm going to show you today how I make cookies. So I've been making cookies for years. I've always loved chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal cookies, as I'm sure many of you do as well. And then in my 20s, I started to think I should just quit sugar completely. I think I'm never going to eat sugar again. And tried to eat cookies that had no sugar, no fat, basically no flavor, and realized that it was just an impossible goal for me to never ever again have a morsel of sugar in my body. And so I was determined to figure out how to make cookies that actually tasted good but were also healthy for you, and it's been a process over the years of sort of tweaking the recipe, but I think for me I've just found what seems to satisfy that sweet tooth but at the same time doesn't spike my blood sugar up and then inevitably crash me down. It's healthy, it's a cookie that's rich in essential fats from nuts and seeds and olive oil. It's high in fiber from flax seeds, chia seeds, and whole grain flours. It's partly organic, partly just kind of junky, I guess you could say, because I do use some ingredients, and I'm going to show you basically everything that I do, but I don't follow a recipe. I just sort of wing it and intuitively mix this stuff up, and I have kind of a base cookie recipe that I have, and then as far as what I add into it for the additional yummy things like the chips and the dried fruit and the different nuts and seeds and dark chocolate chips and so on and so forth, that might change from time to time, but basically the recipe is the same as far as the base. So this is my attempt to show you. It may take a little while. I may try to just speed it up once I get into all of the mixing, but the first thing is that you need a huge bowl. So this is a nice big bowl. I have a stick of butter in the bottom, a whole stick of butter. So this is real, like for real butter, not the fake stuff. So that goes in there, and then I will usually have about a half, this is upside down, sorry, half a bag of coconut. This is 14 ounces, so about, anywhere from 7 to 8 ounces of coconut. I'll put that in there, and then I will microwave that for about 40 seconds just to soften it up. And I guess putting the coconut in there just keeps the butter from splattering all over the roof of the microwave, but if you've got one of those splatter platters, you could use that, but that just kind of helps soften up the butter. So then I will use, and you want to make sure that you've got a really big strong fork to, this is going to take a lot of muscle. I'm telling you, when you get to the end of adding all the ingredients, your biceps and shoulders are going to get fatigued because it takes a lot of work. Now if you're lucky and you have one of those mixers, I'm sure it'll work fine in there, but I just do it the old-fashioned way. So I will melt the coconut and the butter together, and then I will put in 2 eggs. I guess another reason for putting the coconut in there is that if you just put eggs on hot butter, it might kind of cook the eggs. So the coconut kind of helps absorb some of that heat from the butter. So then I'll add in 2 eggs and stir all of that up. Now here comes the bad part. And a good friend of mine, Angela, named these cookies Better Bad Choice cookies, which I absolutely love because it really illustrates and describes exactly what these are. They're better than just the bad cookies for you that have nothing, white flour, no fiber, no protein, no healthy fat, nothing. So it is a better bad choice cookie. It's maybe not perfectly 100% organic, fat-free, sugar-free, non-GMO, fair trade, blah, 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 blah. It's not all of that, but neither is it the just completely junk food type of cookie. So it's going to satisfy you. So here is the bad part. So I do use usually half a bag of either Betty Crocker or something similar, a chocolate chip cookie mix, or maybe an oatmeal cookie mix, or sometimes I've used this. I've used lots of different things. I've used even brownie mix, but I'll just do half of the flour coming from that, and then I will do almond flour, okay, it's just good, and then I will also use coconut flour. The problem with using just straight up coconut flour is it seems to just be crumbling and it kind of has a weird texture to me. So using this wheat flour that's in these other products seems to kind of hold it together better and just gives it that good flavor. And that stuff does have sugar in it, so you are getting some sugar. It's not completely sugar-free, but it's way less because of all these other ingredients that I'm adding in there. So I will add these dry flours into that mix, stir all of that up. I will also add some rolled oats. Now you're wondering how much, the amount. So that's a good question. I'm not really sure, but if I'm using half a bag of this, then I might use equal amounts of the coconut flour and the almond flour. So let's just say this is half a cup. Half a cup of the junky cookie mix, and then maybe half a cup of the coconut, half a cup of the almond. Then I will use about a half a cup of oats. These are the old-fashioned oats. And then more, so then flax seeds. These are crushed golden flax seeds, so those are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. I will also use black chia seeds. Add it in, and then I will use hemp hearts, which gives it a nice chewy, kind of nutty texture to it. Again, the question is how much. So this is 1/4 of a cup, measuring cup, and maybe about 1/4 a cup of this, the flax and the chia. Okay, so those are all those ingredients. At this point it might start to be kind of dry, and I just use my eye and how it feels to determine how much more liquid needs to go in there. So typically I'll add a little bit more water, maybe 1/4 a cup, but I will also add in some extra virgin olive oil. And you might think, ooh, that's going to taste like, you know, a Caesar salad inside your cookies, but no, it doesn't. You don't even know that it's olive oil if you're using a really good olive oil. And so we all know the benefits of the olive oil, and so I like adding that to it as well. So then I've got all this flour, all that stuff mixed up. The bowl is starting to get quite filled up. And so then next I will add, and what I have in here, it is some dry roasted peanuts, but it's actually, you can't see, but it's a combination of a lot of different trail mixes. I've got raisins, golden raisins, regular raisins. I have dried cranberries and dried cherries, fresh from Michigan, that my sister Roxanne sent me, and they're huge, they're amazing, and that's where they grow the cranberries. You know, if you knew that, I didn't know that, and cherries as well. So I've got in there all kinds of nuts, all kinds of seeds. I have, sometimes I'll buy these trail mixes from Aldi's that have already a combination of almonds and pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, peanuts. This is another trail mix from Aldi's that has white chocolate chips, it looks like caramel chips, dried cranberries, Brazil nuts. Again, every kind of nut, every kind of seed. It has dark chocolate chips as well. So I kind of mix that in there. I will also add in some extra sunflower seed kernels, and then sometimes I'll put in pumpkin seeds, which is already in this big mix, but I just don't have the bag to show you, but you know what that looks like. Sometimes I'll put in, what are they called? Marcona almonds. I always want to say Macarena. But they're called Marcona almonds, so I'll put some of those in there. And then, you know, your general just mixed nuts, I will also put some of those in there. So these have Brazil nuts, cashews, filberts, just a little bit of everything. So as you can tell, there's a lot of stuff going in here. Also, dark chocolate chips. We all love chocolate, or at least most of us do. And I like the dark chocolate, so I tend to put a lot of extra dark chocolate in there to make it taste really just rich. So the cool thing is you're getting a lot of fiber, you're getting a lot of protein, you're getting a lot of essential fatty acids. So when you eat just one cookie, to me, you're really satisfied. You're not constantly, you know, trying to eat another cookie and a third and a fourth and a fifth, like I used to do with those, you know, Snackwell fat-free, sugar-free cookies. It was just like you never could quite get satisfied. Something was missing. But in these, you have one cookie and it just satisfies that sweet tooth, and you don't feel so bad in terms of guilt because you've just put a bunch of junk in your body, but neither do you feel bad because your blood sugar is not spiking up out the roof and then just crashing you down into a sugar coma 2 hours later. So that's what I love about these cookies. So I am now going to do all of that I just said I did, and then I will show you at the end the final finished product. One more thing, I forgot. So I have these wonderful silicone mini muffin pans. I've got 2 of them. They make 24 per thing. So I'm getting 48 little baby muffins out of this big batter here that I put together today. But I like this because you can just kind of pack it in there and it makes a nice perfect little shape of a muffin / cookie. So that's what I cook it in. And I cook it at about 320 for about 20 minutes. So it kind of varies depending on your oven and maybe how crispy you like your cookies or how soft you like them. So I'll just have to leave that up to you as to how long you cook it. Sometimes I'll bake it that long and then I'll just shut the oven off and leave them in there for another 5 minutes to kind of finish off and cool down, and then they seem to be perfect. So there you go. That's kind of the essence of my cookie recipe. I hope that is helpful. I hope you can follow it and just trust your own intuition to do the cookies this way. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to see if in the editing I'm going to be able to fast forward this or speed it up so you don't have to, sit through it all. Try and do that like fast. Hi, so I'm back and the muffins have cooked. 20 minutes is how long I had them in there, and not that you don't know what cooked muffins look like, but there they are. So I will just a little bit and then I'll kind of flip them up on their sides and sort of let the moisture evaporate. I did have enough, as I mentioned, in that big batter to do another 24 that I stuffed in muffin cups, and then I froze them in the freezer. And what I'll do next is take those out and put them in a baggie, a Ziploc baggie, and then they're just ready to go whenever I want. I actually think it's better that you not bake so many all at once unless you've got 24 people to feed. It's better to just bake them as you you need them or want them, so maybe 3 or 4 at a time. I mean, it just depends on how many live at your house, but I live alone, so I'll usually just bake 3 or 4 randomly throughout the week and have those available, and then they're fresh. If you bake all of them, then there they are, and that's temptation, just calling your name. At least it is for some people. And then if you freeze them first and separately in those little muffin cups, or just if you were to make even just balls and spread them out on a cookie sheet and freeze them, then put them in a baggie. They won't stick together. If you just stuff them all in there, it'll just be one big conglomeration, just blob. So you want to freeze them separately, then put them in a baggie, and then you've got them ready to go, your own cookies. So it's a lot of work. It took about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, I think, to mix all that up and then, ball it up and stuff it in those little muffin cups, but it's well worth it. And I think that you will enjoy and you'll feel a lot better just having a healthy cookie. And, if you've struggled with just trying to give up sugar completely, maybe this is the answer. Maybe it's okay. Maybe if you give yourself permission to have something sweet every now and then and just do so in moderation, you might find that it's easier and you're not going to be so tempted to just binge on junky food. That's what I found was happening to me when I tried to make such extreme black and white rules for myself. I ended up just when I fell off the bandwagon, just the one iota, man, I was just gone. It was just like, oh, forget it, just start on Monday. So yeah, believe it or not, I had that kind of mindset that was all or nothing, and just couldn't be okay with allowing myself to have a little bit of something that maybe wasn't like 100% perfect. So, kind of using that rule. I love that bullseye imagery of 80-20. So 80% of the time try and shoot for the bullseye, the center, which would be your more clean, healthy, perfect eating, and then the 20% on the outer rim of that bullseye, some of those quote forbidden off foods that you wouldn't want to eat all the time. So I think that's a good general rule of thumb. And one more thing, so I did the 24 that I baked, the 24 that I froze, then I had some left over, which I will just keep in a little, I'm going to dump it out, Tupperware container, and I keep that in the fridge. So that's usually how I do it. I don't often freeze them because I'm not making them that much, but I'll have that in a Tupperware container, and I'll just bake cookies from there as I go. And I have a nice little toaster oven, so I'm not using up all that energy, and it bakes nicely in there. Again, 20 minutes at about 220, something like that. So you just experiment with your oven temperature and the rack where it is. That all dictates, and even what you're baking it in dictates how that cookie will cook. So I hope that has been helpful. I think I covered everything. Yeah. So I'm going to include with this video a blog that I wrote on the Better Bad Choice cookies, and it just explains a little bit more my philosophy and how this came about, my cookie making adventures, and how it's just, I think, a great cookie because it's high in fiber, high in protein, high in essential fats. It's got that dark chocolate, antioxidants from the dried cranberries, and it's just, if you're not allergic to anything, if you're allergic to dairy or gluten or anything, this is not the cookie for you. And if you're real strict on your diet, and that's fine. I totally admire that. But if you like a lot of flavor and just a lot of stuff in your cookie, this is the one for you, because it's pretty much got everything that every cookie has ever had, I think. All right, so enjoy. Let me know how it goes if you should attempt to make these cookies. Alrighty, bye-bye.